What is up, guys? Tony here. Alright, so at first I wasn't sure if I should tell this story. As you know, I'm really trying to keep everything PG on my channel and don't want to talk too much about drugs, cops, illegal stuff and whatnot. But after seeing all the positive feedback on my last story, I really thought I gotta make more of these. But I've really been struggling to remember a story that doesn't involve drugs or alcohol or illegal stuff. Like my last story, if you didn't see it, was about how I quit my job after only one day. Then I was just stuck there like, surely there's got to be more stuff that I can talk about that's not related to drugs. But everything I could remember that happened to me that was interesting enough was revolving around that. So I thought, let's just put this one out and see how it does. If I get demonetized, if it gets taken down. I used to have so many issues with YouTube all those years back, so now that the platform is even more strict, I really don't know what'll be all good and what won't. Either way, this happened a few years ago when I used to live in New Zealand. Okay, so I don't know if you've heard about this, you probably have, but you can't really mix alcohol and weed. Like, you'll most likely end up feeling bad. Well, technically you can, but it depends which one you have first. So basically, like, one of the first things I remember I learned when I started smoking weed back in the day was this beautiful little poem. Beer before bud, you're in the mud. Bud before beer, you're in the clear. That's the Kiwi version of it, as in New Zealand we say bud for weed a lot. While I don't know if other countries also say that. Sometimes I'd also hear another version like beer before grass, you're on your ass. And grass before beer, you're in the clear, which is pretty much the same. And that's a really easy way to remember it. So basically that means that if you smoke weed and then have a few drinks, you'll be fine. But if you drink and then smoke weed, you'll feel shit. Obviously, if you have like one drink or like a couple, then it's fine. If you have a J or two later, like, you won't likely be on your ass. But if you have like 12 shots of tequila and then decide to have a 1 gram dab, then then fucking rest in peace. I don't know if that's a really good example, because just having a 1 gram dab by itself is almost guaranteed to annihilate probably like 99% of the population. But you see what I mean. So this story happened during that period of time when I had just graduated high school and I was just juggling jobs trying to find something decent, and I basically had a lot of free time at that moment in time. So it was just another one of those days where I wake up, my boy shoots me a text that he's coming town later in the day and asks if I'm keen to hang out. I basically used to live like right in the middle of the city center, like the CBD, while my high school was like in a suburb, so like a solid half-hour drive at least, because Auckland's pretty big. So all my friends lived there and I'd usually be the one making the trip there. But as you get older, you're more drawn to the city center, as there's just more stuff happening, more people, there's clubs and whatnot. So I just leave my building and meet up with two of my bros and two random bitches I never met, and we just walk around the city center to an undisclosed location where we proceed to smoke a bunch of weed. Jokes, if you know Albert Park, it was like in the hills towards the uni buildings. Like, there's a bunch of thick trees with massive roots that come out of the ground, and you can sit in between the roots, so it's a really nice place to chill. And I remember my buddy had gotten a new bong barely a week prior to it. Like, it was quite a small one that could easily fit in a backpack, and it was nothing special, but like, it was his first one, so we were all stoked about it. So we pack a few balls and we leave and we go to Macca's. Since my boy got the bud, we agreed I get him whatever he wants, like food wise, just to even it out, as if I had paid my share for the weed. So I get him something and I get a Big Mac combo, the usual, and afterwards we just keep walking around town. We hit a couple of thrift stores, like second-hand shops. My best bro used to absolutely love those, and I didn't know too much about it, but he introduced me to it. Like, it was like years ago and he was already on Etsy. Like, that was way before it got as big as it is today. And we didn't even have that much weed earlier because we were planning to have some more later in the day, and also one of my boys wanted to fuck one of the bitches, so there was talk of getting booze too. And as we're walking back towards Albert Park, we come across another one of my best bros, and I hadn't seen him in months, so it's like, yo, what's up? What are you doing out here? And he's with some of his friends, but he decides to chill with us for a couple of hours. The thing is with my boy is that he and his friends aren't into smoking that much. Like, he personally likes blazing, but his bros do not smoke at all. But that's why they love their liquor. So my boy's like, yo, do you want to get liquor too? Like, want to go have some in a bottle? So I'm like, who's down for it? And my boy's like, yeah, nah, we got weed. Like, we don't want to drink. And then the bitch is like, we didn't ask them anything. Actually, who cares about them? So me and my boy decided to go halves on a bottle of Jägermeister. That was the last time I ever drank that. I just hate it now because of what happened later. So we go in, get like half a liter for $40. I know if you're not from New Zealand, you probably thought you heard that wrong, but no, alcohol is ridiculously expensive in New Zealand. And don't even get me started on darts. Like, a pack of Marlboro is around $30. 30 fucking bucks. And to me, that was 100% normal because that's all I knew back then. But since then, I traveled a bit, and nowadays I still can't fucking believe I used to pay $25 for a fucking pack. I obviously wouldn't smoke that much because of the price, but if you smoke a pack a day, that's $175 a week, which equates to $700 fucking dollars a month. $700 fucking dollars every month just for a pack a day. I mean, that's just mental. Either way, we go back to Albert Park, but a different spot this time. And my boy whips his bong out and they start packing it. Meanwhile, me and my other boys start drinking that Jaeger and we have a couple of shots. I start playing some bangers on my speaker and we just have a good time in it. Since we went halves on that bottle, I thought I might have like half the bottle, or like at least as much as I can, since I'm not that much of a drinker, and then just leave it to my bro when he goes back to the friends he came with. So we're chilling and my other bro that wants to fuck the bird is making plans about going to like a restaurant with the bitch, or I don't know, something like that. I wasn't really paying attention to what they were saying because I was just catching up with my bro I hadn't seen in so long. But then the bro with the bong is like, yo, you want to hit this? Like, you technically paid for it. Like, we ain't bringing this back with us. If you don't want it, we'll just finish it. And I freaking love weed, right? So I smoked weed early on, then I drank, and now I was about to have weed again. All I can think was like, I'm gonna get so fucked up, let's go. So I'm like, fuck yeah, I want to hit that. Big mistake. Big mistake. So my buddy packs me a bowl, I light up my lighter, put it on the weed and start inhaling it. The water bubbles up, the flame goes through the devil's lettuce as it combusts, as its pastel green color sparks up with sparks of bright yellow in what is known as one of the most beautiful sights a human will ever witness in his life, combined with the wonderfully relaxing sound of the crackling of the buds as they catch fire and burn, while a strong but magnificent stench gets released into the air, bringing joyful smiles and watery eyes to anyone around who recognizes that mesmerizing smell. My throat starts to ache as I resist the urge to cough into the bong, which would make the water splash into the bowl and make the weed wet, which is one of the greatest tragedies of newbie smokers. And I repeat this wonderful process a few more times. So at this point, I'm standing on this thing that looks almost like a wall, like it's about shoulder high. Like, as I said, it's a big hill and was somewhere in the middle. So like basically there's a walkway with this wall thing and the grass keeps going uphill to the area with the big trees where we smoked previously. So I'm sitting on that thing. As soon as I'm finished, like, I don't really feel that relaxed like I usually do. Like, I feel I'm somewhat getting high, but it's not enjoyable. Like, I instantly feel like something's wrong. I don't say anything, but I feel I'm starting to sweat. I'm like, fuck, why am I feeling like this? And I get up and like at this point I'm not into the conversation at all anymore. Like, I'm not listening to anything they're saying. I'm just like almost closing my eyes or looking down like, fuck, I feel bad. I'm like, maybe I should light up a dart, it might help. It never fucking does. As soon as I take a few puffs, the weird feeling becomes even worse and I start feeling super fucking nauseous. At this point I'm not sweating anymore. I'm literally fucking showering from the inside out. Like, I'm spewing water like a motherfucking fountain. Like, I'm basically squirting sweat out of my pores. Keep in mind, I had a big, thick sweater on, and my bro's like, yo, just take off your sweater. You're sweating so much. Like, it'll definitely help you feel better. And I was indeed sweating so much that I figured if I take my sweater off, like, my t-shirt will be so soaked. Like, I used to have anxiety back in the day, and I used to just care so much about people's opinion of me and how they see me, and I was like, that's gonna be so gross, what are they gonna think of me and shit. So I'm like, no, I know that's not gonna help. And he's like, bro, just take off the sweater. And I'm like, nah, I'll be fine. I know I'm not feeling bad because I'm hot, it's something else. And then everyone's like, mate, you're sweating so much, just take off the goddamn sweater. And I think they told me like 2 or 3 more times, and I finally took it off. And like, mate, when the slight breeze hit my wet skin, I just felt so relieved. Like, it cooled me down, and it felt so good. Like, I was like, oh, fuck. But this literally only lasted a couple minutes before I started feeling nauseous again. Keep in mind, while all this was happening, I was still smoking that same cigarette, and maybe I even lit up another one. I can't even remember. I think if I didn't smoke that cigarette, I would have probably been fine. Like, honestly, every time I've had a bad time, the common denominator is cigarettes. Like, which is why I really recommend you never ever fucking try one. Just don't, mate. Because like, even though I knew I didn't enjoy it, and I didn't like it, and I was conscious, and I realized it didn't make me feel good at all, I just had to light up. I still had to smoke it. Either way, I start feeling bad again, and this time I feel a weird feeling in my stomach. So I get up and I start walking further from my friends, and they look at me, and one of the bitches is like, yo, what the fuck are you doing? And my best bro who knows me is just like, Just let him do his thing. Just let him chill. Leave him alone. Maybe he needs to be by himself to feel better. Like I was getting further away from them. I couldn't exactly hear what they were saying, but my bro had my back. And basically, like, I'm a bit further from them, but they can still see me. And all of them just stopped talking, and they're just staring at me, wondering what's gonna happen next. And like, so I've got my hands on this wall thing in front of me, like, which is shoulder high, and my head's tilted towards the ground, which technically was the worst position I could have put my head in. And I just feel something coming up from my stomach up to my throat, and like, this is so funny. Like, I'll always vividly remember this scene. Like, I literally look up and make eye contact with them, and like, I push my body against that wall, and I just start puking all on top of it as I'm like still making eye contact with them. So I'm looking at them while my breakfast and my Big Mac get expelled from my body in liquid form. I'm literally just looking at them and just going "Bleh, bleh." And I see the bitches just look away as they scream ew, and my boy's face just light up and they burst out laughing. Like, I mean, I guess it was a pretty funny sight to see. And then I stop and the bitches look back at me, and I can just see they probably think I'm such a gross cunt. And then all of a sudden, bleh, and I start puking all over again. And my buddy, and my buddy looks like he's trying so hard not to piss himself laughing. So as I finish emptying myself through my mouth, I just stand there in the same position, and I just breathe in and out for a few more seconds, and I just feel like a massive weight has been taken off my shoulders. Like, I feel so light. Like, I can fly, mate. I decide to go back to my boys, and as I get there, I can see most of them are trying so hard not to crack up laughing. And my buddy's like, yo, you good? And I'm like, yeah. So then, yeah, my bro decides he'll walk me home and then bus back home, while my other buddy goes back to the friends he came with, and my other bro takes one of the bitches out. And then, yeah, basically I just go home, sleep it off, and I was all good the next day. So, moral of the story is, don't mix alcohol and weed. Or at least, don't drink before you blaze. Or the other way around. Wait, beer before bud, you're in the mud. Bud before beer, you're in the clear. So yeah, don't drink before you blaze. I fucked up real bad that day. Like, I covered all the bases to make sure I had a bad trip. Like, I blazed, then drank, and then blazed again. Also, just don't fucking smoke cigarettes. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this story. Let me know if you want more of these, and peace.